Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. Today, we're being joined by Tracy Herbert, author of Ride for Hope. Tracy, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Paul. It's great to be here.
Are you ready to get started?
I'm ready.
All right. Question number 1. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
Wow, you have a story to tell, and don't keep it locked inside of you, because if you don't write it, who will? Nobody. That's why you have to do it, and don't let fear stop you from doing it.
And what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
My first book, Diabetes, Tragedy to Triumph, was difficult for me to write. My doctor kept telling me, you've got to write it, you've got to write it, you've got to share your story. And staying focused was so difficult. Keeping track of all the details, like editing, cover design, keep the timing right for finishing the book. When I published my second book, I thought it was going to be easier, but it was just as difficult to stay on stay on track and stay focused. But what I really liked is I had a goal, and I set that goal in front of me. Write X number of chapters this month and do this. And when I had it written down, it was much easier the second time to stay focused and keep it going.
And what I'd like to do is take a little deeper dive into your diabetes book, because before the show, we were talking about your journey and what you've had to overcome and how you've been helping people not only with your book, but also with your podcast. So could you please tell our listeners a little bit more about that journey?
When I was 17 years old, I was lying in a hospital bed fighting for my life. And this doctor walks in and he tells me, I have juvenile diabetes. I'm going to be dead in 20 years, die with horrible complications, never have children. And he said, you have to take shots several times a day for the rest of your life because there's not a cure. And he turned around and he walked away. That was my introduction to diabetes. And I started researching at 17 when most of my high school friends, I was a senior, they were out playing and having fun. I was at a local medical school library doing research because I needed to know, okay, what can I do? Because I don't want to be this. And I had sheer determination that I was not going to let diabetes control me. I have it and I will have it for the rest of my life. But the research played such an important role in my life. And so 41 years, I'm still living with diabetes, obviously, but every day I research because I want to help not just myself, but other people live. Because unfortunately, diabetes is such a difficult and a costly disease to control, but there's hope out there by just changing a few things in your life to make it bearable. And I thrive with my diabetes. I tell people I'm kind of thankful that I have it because I'm so much healthier in my late 50s than most of my friends are. And so my first book was it's more of a scientific book, and it's from a layman's term. What my life has been like. And the doctors that read my book, they're like, this is what they're giving their patients, because they're like, this is what we tell our patients, but it's coming from you who do it day in and day out. I mean, with diabetes, you don't go into remission, you don't get cured. I mean, it's every single day for the rest of your life.
And I remember that with your journey too, you also were talking about the bike ride as well and how that connected with it.
When I do something every decade to celebrate, and I say that in quotes, celebrate my diagnosis, because we all have two choices in life. You can be better or you can be bitter. And so I decided at 17, you know what, I'm going to be better and I'm going to do everything I can. So every decade I do something big. And I thought for my 40th anniversary of my diagnosis, because I am a grandmother, I have 2 healthy kids and no complications, I thought, let's ride your bicycle from the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco to New York City Brooklyn Bridge.
Wow.
And I did it because I started off doing it to celebrate, and I say celebrate again, kind of laughingly, but it's an attitude for me. But I started doing it to say I did it. I'm doing well. But along the way, it became so impactful for so many people. I was meeting people on the side of the road that would stop and talk to me. I was getting messages on Facebook and, email and text and everything else saying, you're inspiring my child. You're giving me hope. You're telling me I can take care, even with type 2 diabetes. And so it became about 100, 200 miles into my journey of the 3,527 miles. I started realizing this was a mission and this is a calling on my life to provide hope and encouragement, and also to stop the epidemic rise in diabetes. I mean, it's obviously everybody knows somebody with diabetes, and it's continuing to grow astronomically, and we've got to do something to change our lifestyle here in this country.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about marketing. So please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launches that has worked well.
Well, for my first book, I was very fortunate because I had been on a speaking and a TV media tour because, again, very few people have lived successfully. At that point, I was almost 40 years into my diagnosis. And so it became kind of interesting because people had me come in and speak in TV. So that was very easy because my book instantly became a bestseller because so many people were watching me on TV and they were hearing me speak. And using those strategies, because I kept saying, I just want to provide hope. To me, it wasn't about becoming rich selling a book. It was just putting that book into people's hands to say, don't lose hope, but also that you can live successfully. And so when you give to people by encouraging them and providing hope, they respond by buying your book. I mean, that was very fortunate for me. And then my second book, which is based on my bicycle rides, which we just talked about, it quickly became a new release bestseller, not because of me, but because all the followers I had met along the way, they shared my story. They told their friends about my story. People were buying my books because my second book had very little to do with diabetes, but more about providing hope because it chronicles my 3,527-mile bike ride across the country and different people I met and different things that kept coming into my mind about my 40 years of living with diabetes. And because of those people, it became hot. I didn't have to really market it because people wanted to hear my story, both for my diabetes tragedy and triumph, but then also my ride for hope. I was fortunate because so many people, I didn't really have to market it because so many people were doing it for me.
Well, and with your story too, it is such a huge impact when you do tell it and you're so passionate about it. I mean, passion sells.
Right. Yep.
Well, let's talk about your favorite book. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that one of the TV appearances I had, I don't remember where I was, but the World Health Organization had just released that across the world, diabetes is an epidemic, not just in the United States, and that because of that they played that into the TV interview, and they were like, "What perfect timing!" Because unfortunately, it's epidemic.
Well, and it's very true. And it's one of those things that if you're diagnosed with it, it's very difficult to reverse. I had my own health crisis years ago where I was right at borderline type 2 diabetes, already had diabetes in my family. I was near 340 pounds. My doctor told me if I didn't get my act together, kind of very blunt doctor as well, he said, you'll be dead in 5 years. So lost the weight, kept the weight off, and that was the inspiration for my first book, Eat Less and Move More. And it's just funny that one book just completely not only changed my life, but it helped change the lives of many people because you're right, diabetes is an epidemic, and if we don't take care of ourselves, then we're going to be in pretty rough situations.
Yeah, and not just health-wise, but not just health-wise, but also the economy in this country is just faltering because the medical costs are skyrocketing, and we got to do something about it.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about your favorite book. So what is your favorite book, and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
The book is titled Mind Over Medicine, Scientific Proof That You Can Heal Yourself. I don't know if you've ever read that by Lisa Rankin, MD, but it's an amazing book. And, of course, my faith is important to me, but reading this book confirmed what I've always said, that having the right attitude, along with believing that we can get better, provides a better outcome. And that book transformed my life.
I actually just wrote down a note to check out that book because you're right. Mantras and having positive thinking, it makes all the difference. And we're about to transition into our quote question, but I'll just share with you one of my all-time favorite quotes is from W. Clement Stone, and that is, what the mind of man can conceive and believe, it will achieve. And that is something that I've believed since I was 5 years old.
Oh yeah, that's important. And this book shows different scientific research, scientific studies that shows that it's not just a placebo effect. It's much greater than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So it's called Mind Over Medicine. Is that correct?
Correct.
Cool. Yeah, I made a note for that as well. I want to check that out. Well, for our final question, Tracy, what is your favorite quote and why?
Well, it's Eleanor Roosevelt's, do one thing every day that scares you, because staying in my comfort zone doesn't allow me to grow, and it doesn't help anybody grow. So I try to do something every day that scares me.
Well, Tracy, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
It's www.tracyherbert.com. That's TracyHerbert.com. I have tons of free resources that are especially valuable for anyone with diabetes or those who want to prevent diabetes, like what you were just talking about.
Tracy, thank you once again for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
Thanks so much, Paul. It was great talking to you.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how you can be featured in our brand new Get Published business book, go to getpublishedpodcast.com.